Fonville loved LPB. We enjoy LPB as a family. My children love LPB. And of course, it's about the state capitol. And when I was approached by LPB, this picture popped into my mind immediately, just because we've had it for so long and it's been at my father's house. And every time I'd see it at my father's house, I always thought of it as, wow, you know, it's a dark place sometimes in the world, and here's this light shining, you know, so it's always stood out to me, and it made me think, you know, hey, this would be good. Huey's Light is a part of Fonville's historical collection. That collection was discovered in 1956 by my father, who was actually cleaning up the darkroom at the time. And among those that were printed, that was one of the ones that Fonville printed as a 16 by 20. It's the only 16 by 20 that was ever printed of Huey's Light. And I think Fonville printed it because there wasn't any night photographs that he had. There's none really, other than Huey's Light. It's different. Huey's Light, I think, first was shown at Taylor Clark Gallery, I think in the early 60s. And then we had a show in Angers, France, and it made its way to and from France. There is a crease in that print from that shipping from that show in Angers, France. So that's a record of that travel, where that print's been. There's only one 16 by 20 that was ever printed of Huey's Light, and the only one that he signed. So there are no more 16 by 20s. This is it. So we all know that it comes from Governor Huey P. Long and all that he did for our state. And I think he had a real impact on my grandfather. So the light shines on Huey's grave. And I don't know if Fonville, I have an inclination by looking through his journals and that sort, and reading some of his past history, that I think when he knew the fog was coming, that he wanted specifically to take that picture. I think he went there for that. And so it shines on his grave, and I think Huey P. Long, the statue was brought maybe 5 years later, so that was in between that time. I think one of my fondest memories working with Fonville in the darkroom, I think I was about 16 or 17, and I had a lot of questions, you know, when I was first really starting to see what he was doing. And I remember him burning a vignette. It's a term in printing. And I said, "What are you doing?" You know, one of the questions. He said, "I'm painting." Painting. And it was quiet. It's a painting with light. I was like, wow, look at this. Very interesting. So I really got to know him a little bit closer before he passed. And as I become an adult, I've learned he was quite an amazing person to record Louisiana the way that he did. We don't have anyone who recorded Louisiana the way that Fonville did in the 30s and the 40s and the people in the 50s and the 60s. So he did. He was quite an interesting, wonderful person.
LPB has a one-of-a-kind opportunity for a collector of Louisiana art and history. For the first pledge of $10,000 or more on a credit card, you will receive an original signed Fonville Winans silver gelatin photograph titled Huey's Light from the personal collection of the Winans family. This photograph, by internationally renowned 20th century Louisiana photographer Fonville Winans, depicts the light from the Louisiana state capitol shining on the gravesite of Governor Huey P. Long, and is the only known 16 by 20 inch original to exist. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for that special collector in support of LPB.